Good evening to you all. Very warm welcome to you all. And here it is. It's the reMarkable Paper Pro Move. What did you all think about that? What did you think of the launch video? What did you think of my content and the other bits of content you've seen so far? It's a cobalt blue sleeve that we've got. Did you notice that? Like their kind of uniform almost in that launch was the white shirt and the kind of big cobalt blue kind of jacket shirt thing. Let me know that you can hear me nice and loud and clear, everyone. Good to see you all. Absolutely great to hear from you. Yeah, it does run on Android, the Supernote. We'll talk a little bit about Supernote a little bit later. But this runs on a Linux. reMarkable does. Let's just see. Let's just check. Yeah, no, this is an ordinary sort of shirt. It's a Levi's shirt. And no, it doesn't go in the jacket. It doesn't go in the shirt pockets there. But a jacket pocket, certainly. And it's got that kind of material quality to it. It really is a high quality device in terms of its build. Thank you so much for letting me know. Let's fire in then. Just to say, just before we crack on, this video is sponsored by you guys. Actually, it's a independent review, as all of my reviews are, unless I tell you that it's not a review and it's a sponsored video. But this one isn't it. It's not sponsored by reMarkable. There is, of course, a affiliate link in the description. So if you do decide this is for you, then please do help me out, help me make more content, essentially, because even if you don't intend on buying this, just going to that website and going to any of the websites I use, clicking through an Amazon affiliate link, it does help me out, because it just lets people know that I've sent you, and it is useful. Really, just you guys being here, you guys being engaged, really helps build and grow my channel. And remember, I am creating content for you. It's a real privilege and I love it. I test these devices out in the real world to make content to help you guys make buying decisions, not for any one of the companies. And some companies, when you get sent something, they think you work for them, but that's not the case with reMarkable. And yeah, I applaud them for being quite open with us and sending out. So far, I think there's 4 of us YouTubers who have been sent one of these, and that's really cool. It's really nice. It's a great privilege. So thanks for sponsoring me, you guys, and thank you very much for being here. Wow, it's great chat. Really great to see you all here. I will dive in and out as we go. I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. Well, this is a good one, actually, because one of the things I'm going to do later on, Jacob, is actually do exactly that. I quickly put some of your comments that I wanted to highlight, 4 of your comments, and I popped them in a PowerPoint, and I can just click the center reMarkable button, and there it is on the device as well. Yeah, I like the form factor. It's really alluring. It's really cool. I wonder why they didn't do a black and white. I think they'll be back at some point with a black and white. I do think that's the case. Good evening to you, Julie. Good to see you. Yeah, have you got one already? You've got one ordered already? I've seen some people already sharing that they've got their shipping notice as well on Reddit, so it's really quite cool. Yeah, they went away from Linux because I just think that it's probably a little bit easier to add things onto Android, and I don't think they had the size of actual coding team, if you like, software team, to actually facilitate that. Cool. Yeah, it's already here. Arrives on Friday. Really exciting. And I will do that later on and look at reading an EPUB as well. There's good news though, because they did say EPUB didn't reflow very well. And then last night, when I was doing my members content, and hello to all of you who are members as well, thank you very much for being part of the channel. And you can see that there in glorious 4K if you do want to have a little look. During the filming, there was actually an update, and it actually improved the reflowing there as well. So firstly, my thoughts about the reMarkable Pro Move, the reMarkable Paper Pro Move. I do think it's a no-brainer I think it's a no-brainer if you're already in the system and the price doesn't make you sort of recoil with horror. And I've seen a lot of comments about the price, and we will talk about that. But I don't think it's a standalone device. I don't think, like the Manta or like the Paper Pro, I don't think this can really be the only device for most people. Some people, sure, but most people, I think, you're not going to see this as being your one and only ePaper device, really. But if you are in the system, I also think you just might as well give it a go. If you fancy something smaller, if you think to yourself, okay, I've got the reMarkable Pro, it's a bit too big, or I've got a reMarkable 2, then, maybe just having that option to take something smaller with you I'm going to enjoy using it. I'm very much going to enjoy using it as my work planner, and I'll show you how I've set that up later in the video as well. Okay, I'll just open it up now. Then you can really see a place for this, and you might as well give it a go, because they of course do the really good policy of 100-day trial. So I'm going to fly out to Berlin on Friday, and so this is my sort of planner for my first couple of weeks of school, but that's why IFA is listed on Monday. I do find it occasionally, did you notice that I've had to swipe 4 times to get it to actually do what I wanted it to do? I think I'm used to a bit more of a swiftly reacting, more responsive operating system on a better a better system on chip. It has a weaker system on chip compared to some other devices, but I like things, you know, it's the thoughtful things like this. Okay, so sure, this is a narrow device, and I've made this nice narrow little PDF to be my planner, but you can see how I need to have a bit more space there. I'm just going to slide to the side and get that extra space, and I think it's those little features that are really quite good. And if I need more space below this, I can keep scrolling down and get more space to the side of this PDF planner that I've made. So yeah, lots to like about it, and yeah, I'm going to really enjoy using it at work. And I think I'm down to, you know, my planners at work where I can pretty much know just what lesson I'm teaching, what title I am, and I've got such good PowerPoints and lesson plans and things on my system at school that I can just get away with planning a lesson like that now. So yeah, just slipping this in and out of the bag. I really find a larger one, if you're taking it in and out of the bag a lot. I moved into different classrooms, I move, so therefore I think it's worth doing. And if you don't use it, then there's no danger there, because you can send that back. And if you find that actually, you know, yeah, okay, it might be expensive, but I've been using it for 90 of the 100 days, and I've used it for 85 of the 90 days, then actually, well, that's a good price. Because if you use something all the time, then £450, or sorry, pardon me, it's £399, it's $450. I think, is it 469 euros? Am I right on that, my EU friends? Don't want to scratch at old wounds there, Kit, come on. But it's £399, so that's not bad, really. That's with a standard marker. I would probably buy this with a standard marker. I do think that's probably a nicer look, actually. But obviously, they've sent me the premium one with the eraser, and that's what's on there now. I think it kind of makes sense with the standard marker, though. It's kind of keys in quite nicely with it. I digress. But if you find that you only used it 10 of the days, then you can just send it back. And reMarkable, they don't mind that. What they do is refurbish them, sell them anyway for just a slight reduction. So why not? And yeah, just think you might as well do it. I think though, with the price here, yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, there we are, 529 euros, standard marker, cheapest folio. Yeah, of course, that you got to add a folio on top, and no bundle there as well. Free shipping, sure. Okay. Yeah, it's got that kind of look to it, but a really quite a large phone. It's certainly not a small device there. Where was I? Yeah, think what device you can get for that, how much e-ink tablet you can actually get for that £399. The obvious one would be maybe a Go 10.3, or maybe a Viwoods. And of course, with that, you're going to get the EMR marker, which many of us prefer. So that's worth kind of having a little think about that. The Boox Go 10.3, as I said. The Supernote, you won't be able to buy that, but you could buy the Supernote Nomad, I think, for that kind of price there as well. Yeah, it does pair well with a reMarkable Paper Pro already. And yeah, I was surprised there isn't an option without the pen. But I guess maybe they were thinking that nobody will buy the pens because a lot of people will buy if they already are in the ecosystem. And I just want to get this out just to show, because how that already, I haven't opened this since, it's installed an update since I've done that, but I will probably find, I haven't actually opened this yet. Yeah, you can see it's all syncing up now. I should find my planner. Yeah, look, it's there, all synced up. It comes through in this view, quite a large view there. That's not quite cool, but I should be able to just zoom out on that. Yeah, okay, that's going to be a bit not quite as pleasant, I think, to work between them. But you can imagine my margins that I was maybe working on here. If I go across the page, you have to zoom again. You can now see how I can use that extra space on the Pro. If I've got my basic plans maybe that I'm making on the Move, and then on the Pro, I can see where I've got that extra space. Incidentally, does it come through on camera? It's a bit more of a yellower screen on the Pro than it is on the Move. I'm going to call this the Pro and this the Move. I know that's a Paper Pro Move, but I'm just going to refer to them as the Pro and the Move because it just makes sense to me. Yeah, I don't know whether that's the age of the screen. I think this is the first device that I received. I'm just going to restart that because let's let it do its update there as well. I think that's just a sort of small update though. I think that's a early copy there, and I think the screen has lived for a little while, and I think there might be some degradation of screens of this type over time, but we shall see. Or it might be the case, because I have noticed that one of my two reMarkable Pros has a whiter screen than the other, so this might just be the one that's a bit more yellow than the other. I think that's probably the case, but I've lent that out to one of my friends. So you did see that on the screen. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think if you've already got the Pro, and if you're the type of person that has to spend any time working away from your desk, I just think that it makes sense to at least try it, let's say. Yes, the price isn't great, but there we are. And look, if you're already in the Pro and you're already in the Connect, then you just might as well. Yeah, so same price for a Note Air 4C. As I say, what a great lot of e-ink tablet you can get at that price. So we'll talk about that. On that case, a Note Air 4C, yeah, the Note Air 4C is a slightly more expensive device than this, but certainly if you can spec it up and it'll be about the same. Whether to go with something like that, a Boox, and I'll do more detailed comparisons over time, but a Boox, a more Android ecosystem there. Just consider, if you are someone who knows their way around Android, then you can see it as a companion device. You can see a Boox as a companion device to your other Android devices like phones or tablets. But that being said, there is a really good Android app for the reMarkable system, so that is a useful thing if you're already in there as well, as there is a iOS app as well. But I just think if you want to decide between Boox and reMarkable, between Android, like Viwoods is Android, like Supernote is Android, although it's not an open Android, just decide if you want to live in Android apps on e-ink, or if you just actually are someone that really mainly uses pen and paper. And this is not an additional computing device for you, but it's a replacement for paper only. reMarkable is great as a replacement for paper only. Now, as I suspected, just to say, there hasn't been a big splash here of all the new features. So that was just a sort of service update here, not a big update, just a sort of bug fix probably there as well. So if you're looking to replace paper, consider reMarkable. Now, one great way to consider whether you should go Android or you should go for reMarkable is to ask yourself, how do you start your projects? And it's a good way to consider whether you like this as well, because if you're the type of person, and I am this type of person, that's for sure, who thinks to themselves, who comes up with ideas on the move, okay? And you can start an idea like this. So you start with just really quick notes like this. And then when you're at home, you work that up, or when you're at your desk, wherever you work that up on the larger device. Now, if I open the same thing, you can see that comes as like a column. And maybe then you can add sort of details or maybe highlight sections, you know, branch off, add information, and work up this, or indeed do handwriting recognition on this type of thing, and then go and use the keyboard case to type that up. And I think these are the benefits of the whole ecosystem, and these are why you should probably give it a go. Cameron, that's a very interesting point. The Chinese writing, Eastern writings, which go down the way, could be a useful thing there as well. Good question. Do I find it too narrow? No, again, because if I want to work at that width, then I can just rotate like so. And there we are. And now I've still got the same width as the Paper Pro. So actually, I think that's okay. I think that's not an issue about it being too narrow. I do think that this would be, as I say, I would see it as making a kind of column of ideas and then develop those ideas on either the reMarkable Pro or via the app. You could do the handwriting recognition on here, and then via the app, you could work that up on your computer. So if you start ideas on the fly, on the move, then yeah, maybe that's the one for you. But ask yourself in general, if you start projects with some ideas on a blank page in a notebook, or you start by scribbling out your ideas, then go with reMarkable. But if you're the type of person who starts a project by like rushing to a computer, opening up Word and typing away, or PowerPoint, or whichever app you use to develop your things, then maybe e-ink itself isn't the one for you, or maybe a fully featured Android is the one for you. If you start your writing by like using voice recognition maybe to talk through an idea, I do a lot of that, then I think the Android is better because you can use voice recognition apps. So I'm going to dive into the questions for a few moments. How did you like my actual videos? Let me know if you've seen the videos that I put out so far. Did you enjoy those ones? Did you like that kind of format that I did? I did a sort of normal length YouTube video, sort of 10-minute job. And then I did a longer in-depth discussion using the same kind of, the shorter one was the highlights, if you like, the kind of key information from the longer one. And then now this deep interactive kind of dive and lots of short content as well. Let me know if you like that sort of format. I can do that for I can't do that for every launch, but I can do that for big things like this. I kind of enjoyed putting it together. I've worked really hard on the content. I really have. So let me know what you thought of the content, please, because feedback is always worth receiving. No, they don't force the toolbar to be on top, bottom while in portrait. You can move it wherever you are. So that's a update that's come recently. Mine will just live at the top, I'm sure. Other thing about the toolbar is that they don't have the option to have the extra pen for some reason. I don't see why I can't choose what I want up there, because I probably wouldn't ever have redo. And I don't need the undo because I can double tap to undo, of course. So yeah, it would be kind of nice to be able to choose what's in there, but I would like the second pen. I miss the second pen option there. See, you can have two sort of saved pens, and I would normally do like you've seen me have here, like a black for writing and then just one color in pencil for scribbling and colorizing things. That's what I would prefer to be able to have on the move as well. So maybe that can come in an update, would be cool. Lots of people, yeah, short attention span says always starts with handwritten notes, usually bullet lists. So I would say you'd get along well with the reMarkable. Yeah, and a bullet list, you know, there's nothing wrong with a bullet list for this. That's your ideas. And then maybe when you're sat back with a cup of coffee with the bigger guy on your lap or something, that would be cool. I think this is the polymer weave. This is the most basic one, I think. I think the mosaic weave just has a sort of second color woven through it. This is a mosaic weave. So you can just probably see it. All right, the sort of second color there, look. Hopefully that comes through in the 1080p. And this is the sort of one tone cobalt blue job, this one. Lovely thing there. Haven't tried the PU, that's real leather actually, but I know what reMarkable real leather ones are like. They're nice. Slack handwriting recognition is very good, but they only accept one page per share. Oh, that's not good enough. Okay, so we want, but it could be one long page, could it, Larkland? Yeah, you want more than one page though, that's for sure. No, the screen isn't as yellow as the first reMarkable Paper Pro. I did mention that just a little bit earlier, that the screen seems quite a bit whiter, and the contrast is good as well, and the black point is better. That's one really interesting thing. I don't know why that is particularly, but it's something I've definitely noticed. If we look at something which is very black, like the outline of the pen tool there. Now can you see how it's now, because I opened it on this larger device, it scaled it back to the scale that it was. it's opened at the same place, but it does default, if neither of them were open, it defaults to whatever the scaling of the device the document was made on. So you notice one opened really large on here, defaults to whatever the scaling of the device was that it was made on. And that's how templates work as well. The templates default to whatever that page was made on. So that's an interesting point. So if you change the template, then the template that comes through will be scaled, and it's actually a different template. They look different. I'll show you one in a moment. They look different depending on which device they were made on. Now, can you see the black outline of the pen? And it's much bluer here on the Paper Pro and much blacker here on the Move. So I don't know why that is particularly. I don't know if that's just bad luck with the original screen that I've got on this first Paper Pro. You can see it's yellower. You can also see the black point is better on the new device. Cool. Yeah, so templates. So this page was made here on the Move. So when I change the template, which is in layers, here, I get all these different ones, and I get the reMarkable methods ones, like let's try the 5 whys, that's one I've seen. You see it comes under there, and you can possibly see, if I hide the layer, you'll be able to see. You see how it's scaled like so, it stops there. Now when that eventually comes through here, come out both, we'll sync in a moment, we should see that it takes the same template, the narrow template, you see that, of the Pro. Now if I'd made that page on the Pro, then the template I would get would be full width, and that would then be the same template on here. So the templates are, you know, they're device specific, but at least they've bothered. They haven't just said, oh, well, you know, they're the templates, they're the size they are. They have actually bothered to change their templates for the new screen size. And I think that's great. Cool, let's fire on. We'll have a look at some EPUBs and PDFs in just a little bit later on. I'm a little bit aware of the amount of time that this might go on for, but that's cool. I'm just gonna just sort one technical thing, so be right back, okay? Recently, my channel hit 50,000 subscribers, so thank you so much to each and every one of you who spend any time here watching my content. I'm always interested to hear what you've got to say, and I always value your comments and your questions to inform my content going forward. But I would absolutely love it if I could hit 100,000 this year, so please go ahead and make sure that you are subscribed, and let's run those numbers up to get to 100K in 2025. Okay, so yeah, let's just have a last little look through the comments. Great question, Dave. Of course, I'll be doing that soon. I'm not sure. I don't think it can. For me personally, I don't think this size of device is ever going to really challenge at the very top, but we will see. The key comparison, as we'll do a little bit later, is probably between it and the Nomad. So stay tuned for that one there as well. Yeah, it's a newer processor, interesting, newer processor. Is it Cortex A55, I think, but like fewer cores, which is very interesting, but it does seem to be working just fine. Apart from one thing I noticed yesterday was when I was opening a larger EPUB, it'll probably just work just really easily now with no issues at all, because that is the nature of live streams. I say a thing and then what actually happens is totally different. But when I opened the complete Shakespeare yesterday, which now it's done really quick, it must sort of buffer it. It took ages to open the complete Shakespeare. And as I said, so I'll just do this bit now about EPUBs, as people are asking. When I first opened this on the Move, it was totally scaled, just all wrong. You know, and this is a reflow EPUB, of course. It was totally scaled, all wrong. And then they had the update, and now, as you can see, it's scaled just fine. Here's another EPUB as well. Anyone read Germinal? What a great book that is. Again, scaled really, really well here. And the one thing I was testing out quite a lot on the members thing, and if you need that in 4K, was things like ringing, highlighting, using the anchoring and really trying to push it, really trying to break it, basically, like trying to make it so that it didn't anchor in the right place when you, for example, rotate it. You see it hasn't reflowed, but now if I change the, where do I have it? Is it in text settings there? Margins, yeah, there we are. I change the page margins to wide now and go save. It hasn't changed anything at all. Oh, there we go. Now it has changed something. But yeah, it's gone. It's just not done anything sensible there, has it? Fit width. You see now fitting width has gone over the side. It does give you a warning that probably doing what I'm doing right now will cause it to be a bit silly. I don't know why that's the case. But as you saw when I opened it, it was fine and perfectly legible. So you just find a view that you like and stick to it, I suppose. But it's probably some work to do there, the reMarkable team, in terms of keeping things anchored right. And you can see my annotations are not anchored in the place I would expect them to be. And you can see they a total mess there as well. So I think they've still got some work to do. I back them to do this. I think they will do it. But you can see now I'm struggling to get it actually forced back into a view that I'm happy with. And I've reached the edge of the performance of that process. I am back in a view that I'm happy with and have my highlights gone back to where they are. I've just lost them. Here's one. Who knows where they've gone there? I don't remember which page they were on. Anybody read German now? Would you like to read some now? Anyway, I digress. Let's focus in on the thing. So you can see, I think that's quite a nice, that's going to be quite a nice experience of reading a novel, actually. And you've got that better black point for better contrast, and you've got higher resolution. And I can tell you that text looks perfectly fine. It's not quite 300 ppi, but it isn't the 209 ppi of the Paper Pro either. So actually that could be quite nice. And you've got, let's not forget, a reading light, which will hardly look like it do anything under my lights in the studio, but it's there for nighttime reading. So it could be the case that you can put EPUBs on there and you can really enjoy getting to grips with those. Cool, let's fire on. So I still can't work out why they haven't released the reMarkable 3 at this time. I just think, I understand that they want that device to have that 10-year lifespan. I hope that they're thinking of something special there. I hope they're going to bring that at a really good price point. One thing we know, if you watch my reviews, they are not going to be going back to a Wacom EMR pen. It will be this capacitive stylus with its issues. One of the issues being the handwriting just isn't quite as good. No matter how much they can talk about precision, it just isn't quite there. It's good, but it's not perfect. It's, you know, I can look at my handwriting, I can see the points in a text where the wobble has affected it. It's not awful, but I can see, I can never get my handwriting to look as good on a reMarkable with this marker as I could before on the reMarkable 2, or as I can on the Supernote Nomad. So I just, you know, there we are. It's not coming. That's not going to have an EMR pen. Let's hope it's super thin. But why don't they just put a black and white option in both of these shells is my other question. Why not call this the Pro? The Pro's the one with the color, and just give us a reMarkable paper tablet at this size. Try and make it thinner if possible. Just give us a really great black and white screen on there as well. And similarly with this, and maybe we'll get that this time next year. You never know. But hey, it's one of these kind of like, you know, we can only dream, can't we, of these things? You know, that's, give us everything we want every time, please. And I think it would be really difficult to imagine a black and white device not at a much lower price point than this. And I've had a lot of comments about that price. And it's interesting, Khaled did a little preview video based off the rumors yesterday, which I thought was a really good video, well researched, you know, it worked out. I mean, it's the worst kept secret that I've ever seen before, because everyone pretty much knew the exact form factor that it was going to be. Did you notice all the stuff on Reddit with the, you know, people were inspecting the code of the website and finding these little Easter eggs that they dropped in there, which I think is cool. I think that's great that reMarkable are doing that kind of fun thing as well there. But Khaled said, if it's going to be priced around $500, it would be a failure. And if it was priced around $400, it would be a success. And I think that's kind of it. But I also think that actually even $400 is a bit too much. Probably $350 kind of dollars is where I think most people were kind of expecting and hoping for this thing. But it's not, that's not going to be the case. And there was a really insightful comment. So this was the PowerPoint that I made. And you can see there, it's come through the PDF. If I rotate it like this, actually there we are. Now the PowerPoint is designed for a 16:9 screen, so it's actually quite readable there. And Seth says, I know people are upset about the price, but two things are at work here. This is not a cheap device to make, custom hardware with the same performance as the Paper Pro, but smaller. So it has been a technical challenge there. And it's a niche project, so it won't be a volume seller. Okay, so the margins do need to be bigger. You know, you can't do this if you can't hit that price point. You can't do the R&D. And it's impressive that reMarkable said, yeah, we believe in this, let's do it. And I think, you know, whereas, okay, it's, some people have said it's like a phone, and there's a comparison with the Boox Palma there as well. But actually the Boox Palma is effectively phone hardware with an e-ink on top. And so that's a lot more straightforward thing to design, because the phone hardware is very much, and I've got the Big Me over here, you know, like think of what a basic phone at this size with basic components in it can cost, as little as it can, you know, you can get phones like that for like 100 quid, can't you? So just putting an e-ink screen on top, it's not all they've done, Big Me or Boox with the Palma. I'm big fans of those devices, but that's one of the reasons why they can deliver a better price point, is because there isn't as much actual customization to be done. They had to solve a lot of problems. This is not the same form factor. This is a much wider thing. This is the same form factor as a journalist's notebook. It makes sense, guys. It makes sense. So, and a lot of people, another really insightful comment, that actually there's always quite a lot of voices with negative things to say, but then there's the silent majority who are just like, yeah, okay, I want that thing, and they just go ahead and grab it. So there we go. And as I've said, if you use it a lot, yeah, dollars per hour or euros per hour, yeah, if you end up using it a lot, then suddenly price is less of an issue. And if it's just that actually the premium nature of it, the sort of extra materials, the extra thought that's gone into making it just the nice device that it is, if that makes you love it more and therefore you use it more, well, that's a good value rather than being expensive. Look, when I first was told about the price, I was like, okay, really? You know, on the meeting, I kind of like, I didn't want to be rude and say it, but I did think that's a ridiculous price. However, this is what it is, and it is a custom job. It is very much a refined piece of hardware. And I go back to that. If you've already entered knowingly into an expensive system, and if you're happy with that and you like it, then it's worth it. That's the thing. If it's something you use all the time, then it's worth it. Cameron wants me to say more about the battery. Yeah, absolutely. I can say a bit about the battery already. So I did have to charge it. I was surprised that I had to charge it before today. So actually, I looked at them both, and they were much lower than what I was expecting them to be. And the reason for that, I think, is because I'm doing all this syncing across all the time. I've been really investigating that that kind of idea that I've been talking to you about, using it, making notes on the small one and then working them up on the larger device. And so therefore the devices have been doing a lot of syncing between. So you see this idea, you get this like column of notes from the move, and then you kind of annotate around that. And I kind of like that a lot. And I've been looking a lot about that anchoring, and you can see it kind of, you lose some of your notes there when it scales up to the bigger one or when you rotate it. So it's not an absolutely perfect ecosystem yet. And I talked about, yeah, here we go, this kind of idea of making a flow chart and then adding on the side. So it has been doing a lot of syncing, and I think that's what's been sapping the battery so much. If I use it like I have been using as a kind of go-between between the larger device and the smaller device, I am not going to get 2 weeks of battery life out of it. I think when you're not needing it to sync, hitting the airplane mode button will be useful, just to shut down the antennas and save yourself a bit of battery. Obviously, running it without the front light would be useful as well. And your mileage will vary depending on how much you're annotating and how much you're just reading as well. So I reckon I'll end up with it running for about a week. As I will use it normally as my day-to-day planner, and then occasionally sort of syncing and pulling this out and working on the larger one. Anything that explicitly mentions the width, why they went for this train? Well, let's not forget that they, like all other companies, can only use what e-ink will make for them. I think they must have an exclusive on Gallery 3 at these 2 sizes currently. And that's probably why, but I think e-ink themselves are probably governed, these are options, these are what we can do. And I do think that's the interesting thing. It isn't actually exactly the same width. They said it was exactly the same width, but I didn't ever measure it. But you can just see actually there when you look, actually the screen is narrower than the top of that. It's the same, the device is the same width. Yes, it is. But the screen itself is actually a bit narrower. So there we go. Does that help, Neil? Is that answering your question there? Yeah, time will tell, but it looks like an expensive curiosity. I don't mind that discussion there as well. But again, I'll go back to, you can be curious and you can try it out for free because of their return policy. And, I mean, why not? It's I think if you're sat there thinking to yourself, should I go for something like a Boox or a reMarkable or a Viwoods or a Supernote? I don't know the Supernote return policy, actually. I'm not sure on that one, but certainly reMarkable have 100 days. If you buy a Boox from Amazon, then no quibbles, 30-day return policy. Viwoods have a 100-day return policy as well. So you could try these out, why not? You can do what I do, and you can sit them side by side and you can work them out. Be an evaluative person, and why not? Life is full of choices, as you say, Simon. Yeah, it's a bit too heavy to carry around, isn't it? It does feel a bit fragile, but it's probably not. You're absolutely right. And the Nomad, I'll come on to that comparison soon, you guys as well. Cool, yeah. But the Nomad, love the one you're with. Don't lust after this one, will you? Or try it and see, because you'll find a good price for selling your Nomad secondhand if you decide to do that as well. Yes, it fits in a back pocket, James. That was in my launch video as well. But don't sit on it. What happens to a project you create on it and look at it on the move? Well, so yeah, it automatically comes through just scaled into the middle. So let's find one of those. Then loads of projects I've created. If I just go back a few days, photo books to do, that will probably be all right. You can see immediately what happens is it scales it right down. So this is just scaled the whole thing down to that size. But then when I rotate the device, I've now got it pretty much, and now we know it's not exactly the same size, but it's pretty much the same size there. And you can see one thing reMarkable added a little while ago. See, that's just taken a few swipes to do what I wanted it to do there, hasn't it? Which is this kind of infinite length of pages. Now it kind of makes sense how that is. So same width, but the length, it doesn't matter. The length can be as long as you need it to be. So if you need to add to this, now I can add more lines. And when I write like this, I almost certainly am going to take it out like this. And they're the same size as the Pro. Just don't love my handwriting on it though, because of that wobble. Love the pen tools, but don't love the the handwriting itself. And then that will come through obviously the same width as the Pro, and then you can carry on. So yeah, I think actually I do think, and you can obviously read and refer to it like that. I do think that they get the kind of the link between these two devices. I think they've got it quite right. I think they've got it quite right indeed. The only one who used the gallery-free short attention span was the only one who's been brave enough to do it was BigMe, but BigMe massively rushed it, and they didn't get the evaluative input from Good eReader because they launched one side by side with Good eReader called the Galley, and it was just a mess of a device. Really, just couldn't handle the operating system. Gallery could not handle an Android operating system, so not a proper full one, and that's what they tried to do. So yeah, I think it's an interesting thing here. I think it's been a really brave move from them. Again, they've called this one the Pro, a reMarkable Paper Pro move. So I think there's still space for them to bring something at a lower price point. I'd love to see them make a kind of fans edition. I think they need a fans edition, really, a reMarkable FE, something like that, kind of student device. Can you imagine this form factor, but like even thinner, all plastic, black and white screen? Think about how thin the latest foldables are, and imagine that as being your super lightweight. That would be your ideal journo's notebook, I think. It's something like 300 DPI, even doing again a 10.3, having that, launching something in the region of 300 quid, I think you could do really well. The backing plastic they've used for this, you could just make this shell out of this stuff. It's almost like a cardboardy texture, but it's obviously plastic. And try and do it cheap. Try and do a student version. Try and do one for young people, or for people who are just like, no, I just don't want the Pro. Don't need all those things there. Yeah. Okay. So I kind of digressing a little bit. I think I'll just give myself a few moments just while I tell you about membership deals, and then I will plow on with a few questions, and then we'll do that comparison with the Nomad really soon. I just want to take a moment to talk about my membership offer. There are 3 tiers of membership. Firstly is the advanced view evaluators, and people love to see my videos before they go live to the public. The next tier is members only videos, and this year I'm increasing the number of members only videos that I put out each month. It's amazing to me that my channel is at the point where I can't respond to every single comment that I get. I try my best to get around to as many as I possibly can, but as a member in any tier, I'll always respond to your questions first. And I do know that many of you have questions about your specific use case. And the last tier is my office only tiers, where I'll offer you a call every quarter if you join that tier. So you can discuss and get advice about which one might suit you, but also how you can integrate these into your work life. I really appreciate that many of you want to support the channel in this way, and this is just a bit more than giving a super thanks on a live stream. So thank you once again. So yeah, I think this is, you can be that evaluative person. I saw just there someone saying, "Oh, I might give it a try. Might as well just try it out." They've given you permission to do that, with the 100-day return policy. I think they're saying, we think that you'll like it so much that you won't return it. And there are some refurbs out there as well. Yeah, I don't disagree, but I think they should. And I think that it would be useful. Actually, we'll talk about them as a brand. I don't think they need to stay this premium brand. I think they can. They're now a big enough deal that they can have premium lines and FE lines. I don't know, I'm not sure about it, but it's things like Samsung. I mean, the biggest selling iPhone is the iPhone SE, isn't it? The cheaper version of that, because it just enables people who kind of lust after these devices to get the iPhone experience, and they could give you a great reMarkable experience at that. And interesting there. Yeah, they have found themselves a nice little niche. And yeah, it's a good support device in this. And I think that's the way to think about it. And there's been some comments that maybe, okay, it's not large enough to do serious note taking. I don't think that's what you'd be carrying it for. I've been, let's say, planning out my IFA plans here, getting my schedule all sorted, making my little lists of people that I want to visit, shows that I want to see, things like that as well. What I'm going to do in Berlin with the rest of my time. And it's kind of ideal for that. It's just the right size. It'd be ideal for just slipping out of the bag. This would take up so much room that I wouldn't have space for all my cameras and things that and my laptop for editing things, and so I think that it's for the right size, for the right person. It's really quite cool. It's a place for jotting down ideas, developing them later, and that use case that I've talked about, do the handwriting recognition, and then get the great type folio and use that. I mean, actually, one thing I did want to do is just let's price up what this would cost. This ecosystem that I've kind of talked through here. How much would that whole thing actually cost? So let's just do that together. So share this screen, that one. Share. Let's go to reMarkable, and let's price it up. Let's see what we want. So we're going to get ourselves the Paper Pro, and I don't know. Should we get the? Where do I even go? I kind of want to buy one. Do I have to go to the bottom to click through? I'm ready. Who knows? Buy now. That's a big button there. And I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to get one premium marker and one marker plus. So it's only plus 40 on there, so I'll go with that. I'm going to get a book folio and a type folio. I'm going to get both. I don't know if I can get both in one thing. Probably add that. Okay. And I'm going to go for, I only get one choice there. Fine. So far I've got 769. They've given me a folio discount as well. 769 quid, that is. I don't know what that is in euros or dollars. My apologies. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to get myself a accessory as well. All products. I'm going to get myself a book folio that's for the move. Don't need that then. So I should have planned this out and just worked it out. But then I'd get myself a book folio for the Paper Pro. There it is. So that would be, get the cheaper one. No, I won't. I'll get a nice one. This is what I've got. I've got the brown leather one. So I'll get that. That's another 169 quid. And then lastly, let's get ourselves a new move because, we've got the FOMO for this great content that's out there. See, 399 quid. That is correctly priced, by the way. It kind of annoys me when the pound amount is exactly the same as the dollar amount. So, there we are. I think, okay, it is the same upgrade, just the plus £40 on both. So I'm just going to get the normal marker with this now. And I'm going to go for the simple polymer weave. They don't seem to have the blue on the British store. So that's a nuisance. So that's 439. So 770 plus 170 is, what's that? 800, 940 plus 440. So we're very close to, we're £1,380 to get that entire bundle there. £1,380 to get what I sort of have here, the sort of setup that I'm discussing. I mean, that then feels a little bit ridiculous when we think about how much Apple iPad you can get for that. You can get maybe get the 11-inch if you wanted a bit more portability in your life. You can get the Magic Keyboard and the Apple Pencil for that kind of price. So yeah, it's, I think that if you're already there, you've already committed to that kind of price. Wowzers, sure, thank you. Yeah, and the 150 euros for the leather. So I wasn't planning, but you can tell me what that is, and you can, if that's something that I think I should do, then I have no idea what that is. So, oh, the blue was under mosaic. Oh, so the blue is a mosaic rather than a simple one. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know that. I appreciate you, Stelios. So yeah, that's a proposition, isn't it, in terms of the price? So I think it's an extra piece of the puzzle, but that's definitely a price tag there, isn't it? But they have been working on this for a long time, I think, and the thinking that goes into it, you're kind of paying for their careful consideration of their ecosystem, aren't they, right? And I can kind of imagine them having those discussions and really think about, right, if we do this, then how does that affect this? And if we change this about the, I talked about the infinite length of pages didn't make sense to me before, but now I can see that it kind of does make sense, because working between different devices with different screen ratios, infinite pages makes a lot more sense than that. So yeah. Yeah, the I have tested the line wobble. It's not great news. It's not as bad as the Paper Pro actually, but it's I don't know for sure. I think it probably isn't going to be as bad as the Paper Pro because it's got a higher pixel density. But I'll do that. I'll do some close-up stuff in a later one. But certainly it happens. Oh, thanks for that. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have a little look into it. Thank you. Folio costs more than the iPad Pro 13 official case. 40% more expensive than Apple for a similar device. Smaller device is wild. Yeah, I mean, an iPad, yeah, iPad is a good deal. I'm not denying that. Where are we up to? But they were really talking about, they've heard a lot from their consumers, their customers, that actually people who don't have the kind of luxury of a desk, and they want to take these to maybe client meetings, maybe they're having to drive to visit places, take some notes out in the field, and then go back to their desks after as well. So they seem to have done their research on this. And of course, the popularity of the phone-sized e-readers has probably shown them there's a market for this sort of size. And every time I do a video on one of these phone-sized e-readers, there's always several comments saying, "Oh, that would be great, but I would just buy it in a moment if it just had a good stylus with it." So I think they probably listened to that and thought, yeah, that's how reMarkable would approach a phone-sized e-reader. They would give it that great marker on it as well. So interesting. Yeah, I think I've covered all these bits now that I plan to. Do fire in any more comments. Yeah, let's go ahead and get out the Nomad and have a little look at that next as well. Yeah, I've covered the battery life, haven't I? About a week, I reckon I'll get in my use case. If you weren't there for that, any more questions, do fire them in. Great to have discussions as well. One thing I also wanted to say was how useful the comment sections on my videos are, especially for reMarkable. And if you go down into the comments, you'll probably see, not probably, you will see people saying why they either tried it and sent it back, or why they tried it and stuck with it. So I think that's, if you're not sure, it's always worth diving into the comments in my videos to have a good look at that. So let's get out of this IFA planner here, and let's bring in the Supernote. And the Supernote, this is the Supernote Nomad, which is a beautiful device. And there they are side by side. Yeah, I know which one I would buy out of these two, but I'm going to save that for the end. You can all discuss which one do you think I would buy out of these two, and I'm going to say whether I think which one's better or worse. But I think I know which one I would buy, and I'll probably say it at the end unless I change my mind doing that as well. So one thing you get in the Nomad, let's take the Move out of its case as well. I'll just sort of keep them side by side. One thing you get on the Nomad is you get linking. And so now at least you can now search all your handwritten notes here as well. But I think that if you're a bullet journal aficionado, if you love really organizing your notes, then getting linking and using that on here is really, really ideal. I do love the gestures here, but I think actually the gestures, although I can't remember what the undo gesture is now, just off the top of my head. The gestures on the reMarkable are also very good as well. And I do think that both of these companies really do care for their devices. But of course, you get the better handwriting here. And the reason you get the better handwriting is twofold. Really premium feeling pens. This one is the Heart of Metal 1. And the really great ceramic nibs and the really great Feel Right 2 screen. And yeah, this is a Wacom EMR pen. And that is just more accurate than the capacitive styluses over here. And I would take Wacom EMR any day of the week. It's not unusable by any stretch of the imagination. You can see the handwriting is acceptable on both, but can you, I mean, which one do you like? Look at the handwriting more. I promise you, I'm not trying to do it differently. This looks like my handwriting, and this looks like some algorithm has interrupted my handwriting to enable it to look like handwriting rather than my handwriting. Does that make any kind of sense? It's kind of like, this is how my handwriting looks if I write on a Microsoft Surface, or to a certain extent an iPad. But this is how my handwriting looks like if I actually use a ballpoint. And that makes the whole thing so much more natural to work here on the Nomad. And so that one is really important to me. I just find if I write a little bit on here, it's always sloppy and it's always slightly not where I put it. And I think that's because we're talking about, somebody mentioned the diagonal line test. You can see those, and I have a degree in architecture, and therefore I can draw a freehand straight line perfectly every time. Of course, I'm only joking, but it gets worse when it's tilted. You see the wobble there. Okay. That kind of wobble as it goes over the grid is just not as good, and you just get less of that with Wacom EMR. And therefore, the stroke is where I put my nib. There is a fine wobble on there, actually. The stroke is where I put my nib, and therefore the handwriting looks better. I actually think that the pen tools are better on the reMarkable. I would love to have these pen tools on the Supernote. So the pen tools are better on reMarkable. But of course, I've got all my drawing tools in the Atelier app over here as well, which are the best e-ink drawing tools that there are. The reason why, one of the reasons why they've gone for this is because then they can continue to use their magnets. Whereas Supernote said, well, if sorry, it's just, don't know how we got onto that one, but there we are. Thank you. Very good. Yeah, no, it's not an important skill. When rulers exist, of course. And I've got a ruler sat right here, which I used to get this comment every time I did every time I did this demonstration. I used to get this comment that's like, would it kill you to put a wooden ruler on the device and do a proper straight line? Oh no, it wouldn't. But I'm used to drawing lines with a ruler. And if I do that more slowly, you'll see it's more pronounced. And if I do it on its side, you should see it's even more pronounced. Yeah, not too bad, but definitely better on the Supernote with the Wacom EMR. Yeah. Where was I? Yeah, the one reason why they've done this is so that they can still use magnets for the pen to go on the side and magnets to put the device in. But Supernote have just said, well, okay, well, we won't use magnets. Or rather, they do use magnets on this one, don't they? But the magnets are way away from the writing surface. So I guess they just found that reMarkable found that having the magnets on the back of the device just meant that there were areas on the screen where you just got wobble. And instead they've gone for just wobble everywhere. So not a deal breaker, but the handwriting is better on the Supernote. Steph has it just with one finger page turn rather than I have it at 2 on mine. And I do think this is an important one. If you're just getting one device, I think that the Nomad is the better standalone device. Whereas I think that the reMarkable is a good companion to the other reMarkables. So that's what I would say there as well. Of course, though, you've got no color over here. So you've got the option to, add color to your charts and things like that, highlight things in different colors, obviously read color content. So if color is important for your documents you need to digest, then there's that. But I think that the the Nomad has a better size for notes, although it's not quite as good for holding in one hand and writing on that than the Move is. And the Move is clearly designed for actually taking notes away from placing it anywhere. Although I always find myself leaning my hand up against something when I'm writing on it to get that more accuracy. So there we are. That's my kind of thoughts about those. Which one do you think that I would get? Which one do you think that I'm going to pick? And I think loads of people love the Nomad for just all of their note taking, and you can customize it more. You can add Android apps if you want as well. Not Google Play, but different ones there as well. And I think both of these are quite cool if you know that you need to take a laptop or you need to take an iPad or something like that, and you want an e-ink device next to your keyboard, which I think is a real key area for e-ink. It sure is. Yeah. Keep going, keep guessing. E-readers for e-reader forum thinks I'd go for the Nomad. I think I've said there's no linking on the reMarkable, so you're stuck either using tags, which is good enough, I suppose. But there was a point earlier on my main planner, yeah. So my planner here, and I was planning my first week, and I said, oh, I'll be an IFA. But I've got a whole folder full of IFA. So what I'd really like to be able to do is just select that and link out to that folder or to a specific part of that planner. Maybe even the page Monday on IFA, when I could do that on the Nomad, but I can't do that over here. So there's that. It's quite funny though. We talk a good game. A lot of e-ink tablet reviewers about reviewing your notes and keeping things well organized. And then we're on this call with the reMarkable team, and it just like every time they got out their reMarkable to show me, and they did demonstrate things live on their reMarkable, and you can see them being really well used. And they'd always say, oh, don't look at my folder structure because it's so messy everywhere and everything like this. It's like, yeah, mine too, don't worry. Don't look at how badly organized things are. But you can always find things, and it's quite funny, isn't it? This drawing keeps coming up time and time again on my I did this on the reMarkable too, I think. Wonder where it's gone. And she just keeps coming back. That drawing there, it's not open properly, has it? We'll probably get there eventually. I wonder, is that just the first page? Yeah, that's what it is. It's a blank. This notebook is obviously set on the front cover to be the first page rather than the. And this is the thing, like without doing anything, it's seamlessly synced all of the documents right from way back on my reMarkable one. And they're all there straight away on the Move. And the cloud, there we are, look there she is. The cloud apps and the apps on iOS, on Android, on desktop are all really, really good. Incidentally, I actually haven't done any drawing on it yet, but my mum did a drawing on it to test that out. So I'll show you that. I think it's in this one. And you can see that the wobble actually, funnily enough, the wobble bothers me less when I'm drawing than when I'm handwriting for some reason. So where did she put it then? Maybe it wasn't in this one. Maybe it's in this one. And again, the drawing tools, and you get these same wonderful tools everywhere you go on the reMarkable. No, I've lost it. My apologies. No one. It's a little bit less space for drawing, of course. It'll probably come up later on. I don't want to spend any more time. So, which one do you think that I would pick? My Supernote is a mess as well, although I would say, you know, organizing things with links is the thing to do there. Custom templates is better on the Supernote. I'm going back to my PDF, my old school, make a PDF and annotate on top of the PDF thing there as well. Handwriting recognition is really quite good on both of them, but the reMarkable now has the cloud handwriting recognition, which is almost always better. So I would definitely say there's a benefit there as well. I think, as I said, reMarkable have got their cloud better than Supernote have, but you have to pay for it. Let's not forget. And I've been loving working on the Supernote for last year, obviously with the Manta, the bigger one. And yeah, I've shown you the bit about margins and my new planner here as well. So let's see. Most people say, oh, Marcel thinks move. You think, yeah, because I'm such a Manta fan, the Nomad would be the one. Nodal says move. I think most people, Javier says Nomad, Zenless Nomad. E-reader forum have said, yeah, it's already said I'd pick Nomad. Yeah, I would definitely pick Nomad. And I don't think that's right for everyone, but I think that it's the handwriting thing. Yeah, it's just the handwriting thing right now. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, mostly honestly though, it's just a really great notebook. Nomad all day long. Yeah, fascinating. Thanks for sort of having a bit of fun with me on that one as well. There. One thing, my launch video was called or one of the thumbnails that you might have seen that thumbnail, or one of my other thumbnails was called "Where reMarkable Lead, Others Follow." And the interesting thing is I've been really enjoying the reMarkable method stuff and sending these things into our inbox, like PDFs about not just how good their device is, but actually here's some great thing you can try on your device. And also the reMarkable methods are great. And when you go into any document now, let's create a new one, why not? All the templates you get, especially these reMarkable methods templates, they're really sort of giving you lots of ways that you can work. And I think that other companies are now, I'm sort of seeing stuff in my inbox to do with, here's an example of somebody using their Supernote for work. Here's an example of someone using their Viwoods, and they're trying to do a similar sort of marketing angle as well, which that makes a lot of sense. Again, where reMarkable lead, others follow. And I think one interesting point will be that other companies are following the lead of reMarkable and using capacitive pens. Whereas Supernote seems still quite committed into the world of the EMR pen. So I think that will be an interesting discussion over the next year or so as we see which companies follow the lead of reMarkable down the capacitive pen trap and which ones stick with the EMR and how they tackle those things as well. So it'll be really interesting. Oh, one other thing about the reMarkable is actually they've taken the time to really scale these things down. So if I go in a daily to-dos, I don't just get a scaled down version of the Paper Pro one. I get one which is designed to go onto this size. And I think you think about Paul Boyer, who makes these amazing templates and they're pixel perfect for everything. He's got to go ahead and scale down. I mean, how's he going to scale down his My Daily Planner to the reMarkable Move size? I'm sure he'll do it, and I'm sure he'll do a fantastic job because what a committed gentleman he is. So that one, I think, whereas as far as I'm aware, Supernote kind of templates are just sort of scaled down versions of one another on the device there as well. Okay, let's just leave it there. Really, I'm just going to sort of have a last look through the chat. So if you've got any more burning questions, then do that. I just want to say, yeah, once again, thanks reMarkable for opening up a bit more. Keep opening up like that. It's an interesting point. So their live stream, I don't think you've told me what you guys thought of their live stream as well. Did you enjoy that? Was that helpful? Did that help you make a kind of decision? Or do you prefer more of an interactive live stream like this? And actually, do you think that they should maybe make that choice and they should do a bit more of an interactive kind of thing as well? And I was I really enjoyed talking to them, and I wanted to bring you guys into that kind of chat and actually see that screen recorded thing and get to hear from them, because they're very passionate people. And I think that actually my personal view about that is that, like, it came across better on the video call than it did in the kind of practiced piece to camera that we got today on their launch. And I think they can do both, basically. I think that they can have the really slick corporate look, you know, that just feels quite sterile. But then they can also have the really warm kind of, you know, here we are, we'll talk to you live, we'll maybe answer a few of your questions, we'll show you live demonstrations of us using our devices that we use daily and tell you what we're trying to do. And I think you can do both. I think you can do different things on different platforms, maybe, you know, and having a look at TikTok as well. And I share some of my vertical stuff on TikTok as well. And they've got basically the same video on TikTok. And what would be quite interesting, I think, for them is to carry on opening up and use a little bit more, authenticity, maybe. Yeah, and look, who am I to tell reMarkable how to market their devices, because they're blooming good at marketing reMarkable. Who am I to tell reMarkable on how to market devices, because they're very good at marketing reMarkables? That's like a tongue twister, isn't it? But I think that they could do just a little bit about a little bit more of that, and I'd love to get them on an interview and either as a live stream like this or in person at some point. And so that would be a good sort of moment, because they're just very good at telling you about what they're doing. And it was when we sort of started having a more open discussion after they'd done their presentations, and we didn't have much time, but kind of open discussion went along the lines of, like, we were discussing their use of AI, and they've got all these plans to use AI in the cloud, but in a way that you wouldn't ever notice, but it'd just be really useful on your device. The anchoring and the reflowing and things like that between the different scales, working up the things into docx's and using the obviously the handwriting search is very good now, and that's done in the cloud as well. You know, we were talking about how AI is going to just really change how UI user interface works, but and AI is very good at doing voice recognition now, and you know, you'll just be able to talk to your computers pretty much very soon. It will be like Star Trek, but that's very natural. But what's also very, very natural to us is using and thinking with the pen. And the idea that this isn't going anywhere, that paper and pens are evolving, that we're still going to use our hands, we still need a stylus. You know, we've been making marks in the mud to kind of explain our ideas for thousands of years, you know, and probably even longer. And that's not going away. So I'd love to see them just do a little bit more of that, and maybe allow, you know, not everything has to be the polished kind of final thing. And I like it's an interesting one that I don't think, has anyone seen any actual paid reviews yet? Last time with the reMarkable Paper Pro, they had iJustine, which was really cool to see that. They had Unbox Therapy. They had another one. They've also sent reMarkable Paper Pro to Jerry Rig Everything. You know, they do quite a lot of those things, and they're cool to see, but they're obviously sponsored things, and you can see what's going on. You get these really polished videos, obviously, to those people's really large audiences. And another, they don't actually use him so far, but Cal Newport, who wrote Digital Minimalism and loads of other great books, he's a reMarkable user. He swears by that. Actually, Mr. Who's the Boss is a reMarkable user as well. You know, these are people that actually be lovely to see them and their take on the reMarkable move. But I just haven't seen that this time. I was quite surprised. I was actually looking forward to seeing what they were going to do on that. So you can do all those different things. You can still control the brand message, and I get that they want to be really quite locked down on it, but keep opening it up. It's really good fun, and you can keep your, that really polished thing that we saw works great on like a paid ad on LinkedIn and on Facebook and things like that, and they can on YouTube. We want that interaction. We want the authenticity. So there we go. That's my sort of 2 cents on that as well. Okay, so let's just have a last little bit. Oh yeah, and the really harsh shadows. You notice their look. They're kind of film grain, harsh shadows. That's what they go for. Yeah, but again, we're not the experts. They're the guys. They know what they're doing, and their stats there as well. Yeah, tell the success story that they've been, and it's a cool success story, and I'm glad that they're at least at the point where they'll really engage with us. They didn't used to engage with us very much, so now it's really nice. And they're obviously really lovely and passionate people working really hard. Which who doesn't like to talk to passionate people about what they care about? Who doesn't like to hear about them? And yeah, it's interesting. Live demos are risky and scary for companies to do. Yeah, I don't disagree. But actually, I mean, you think about like the big impact. You've probably seen the Steve Jobs movie and the things like he was so insistent that it couldn't just be a sound effect. It had to be the computer saying it live to a presentation. You think about the impact that has. And I just wish I could have shown you, because the skill and the kind of fluency that they were using their reMarkable move and the way they interacted with it was clear that they were just really pleased with it. And it's a product of their hard work. And I just felt you guys haven't got to see, it was clearly they knew what they wanted to say to me. They knew they wanted to share with me the things that was going to sound good when I sort of repeated them. But it would have been really much more fun to have heard it from them. And so, yeah, it is risky, but you're right. Any other last minute comments, everybody? Yeah, here we go. It's like, where are we going to find that sweet spot? It is a strange aspect ratio. 16:9 is kind of like vertical video aspect ratio, isn't it? Or 9:16, I should say. So it's a strange one for that. I wonder if e-ink themselves initially developed this panel for like sharing phone photos, because that would be the kind of phone photo aspect ratio, wouldn't it? Certainly isn't designed for TikTok videos, because that's a TikTok video ratio there, of course. Vertical video ratio. Boox, I haven't ever read that. Boox is doing the SpongeBob meme with his eyes going different directions, having both EMR and yeah, okay, now I get it. Yeah, EMR and active pens on either direction. Yeah, interesting, fascinating. The annoyance of Boox is different styles technology on Go 7. Yeah, they've got 3 different things. Yeah, good point there, Digizen. You can't use the reMarkable for that. I think you can certainly use the Supernote for Kindle, although didn't the Kindle app break on the Supernote recently? I think I was reading. But you can install any reader you want on there. Yeah, so a Palma with a pen would be really good. A garage stylus in the Palma, we've been talking about that for some time as well. Best device is the one you have with you, and if it proves to be pocketable, this weird size might be a surprise here. Yeah, I think it will be a hit, but I think it might not be a hit now, Julie. I think it might be. I think it might be a hit when it starts to get discounted, or when they bring a black and white version in this kind of scale. I don't know. It's an interesting one. Mobile apps are good. Desktop app is good. Syncing is seamless, but the syncing uses your battery up. Type to audio notes with them. Oh, right. So you can take audio notes in the mobile app. Does it do voice recognition then, Larkland, in the mobile app? That would be really cool. Of course, you could just use, I guess you can use the Gboard to just record into that, can't you? Yes, but only EPUB or PDF. Still. No .mobi. No, nothing. Not too familiar with reMarkable products. I use a Supernote Manta, but would you say that overall battery life is longer than Supernote Manta, since you can replace the battery in that one? No, the Supernote Manta has a fantastic battery life. But as I think I said in my longer review, guys, did you watch my content today? Did you watch the shorter review or the longer one, or both? And did you like that kind of format of having the shorter one and the longer one at the same time? Because in the longer one, I was talking about the Supernote. If you leave it on automatic sync, then its battery is terrible because it will keep requesting to download everything from the cloud. So the Supernote automatic sync works just fine, but it just eats your battery away. So what I do with my Supernote is I like sync it once a day or once a week or something like that, whenever I sort of remember. But the reMarkable syncs really well immediately, and the battery isn't heavily impacted, but it does go from 2 weeks down to sort of 4 days. So I think there's that there as well. Yeah, of course you will have that added benefit of being able to replace that battery if you need to. Although I think that this battery will do just fine in the longer term, unlike my camera battery apparently. I'll just change that. I'll just be 30 seconds. Thanks so much for being here and spending time with me on this live stream. I really enjoy engaging with you guys and answering your questions live. It's a massive support to me. Now, if you do decide that one of the devices that I review here on my channel is for you, then go ahead and check the links in the description. Because when you make a purchase through a YouTuber's affiliate links, you make it possible for us to keep making content for you. So yeah, the Canon camera's battery life, I think we were talking about, weren't we? The topic of conversation. I'll just do the last few little ones just now as well. Can I comment to the backlight? Yes, I can, but as you can see, it, like in this situation, hardly does anything. So just I run it down like this. But certainly if it was a dark room, then you can read on any one of these. So I'm not bothered really by having a backlight or not. I don't mind devices that have them or not. I use them when I'm in a darker room, or I turn a light on if I don't have a backlight. So it's neither a plus or a minus for me. One thing they have though to say is that actually they have managed to not make a massive gap between the top of the screen. That is a triumph both on this one and on the Paper Pro, is that devices with front lights normally have huge gaps, not huge, but like a millimeter rather than this like a third of a millimeter or something gap between the actual very top surface and the actual e-ink, because you need that space to guide the light down and reflect it back up again. But they've managed to make it still very nice and thin there as well, so that's cool. My pleasure. Thanks for the thanks, and thanks for being here. I really enjoyed this evening. I hope you all enjoyed the launch day. They do have an 8-inch gallery display too. Why didn't they use that? Well, that will probably be the one that was in the galley. So they obviously wanted to do something different. I don't think they want to go near a reminder of the Big Me galley, because that was a big flop there as well. Yeah, I wish it could have a few things, Outlook and Kindle app, but they don't want to put email on it because they don't want to distract you. They don't want you to have the ability to do your email on it, because they want you to see this as a place for your focused thinking, and I can understand that. Yeah, bigger than big files. It just doesn't have the processing power for massive files. Ultimate setup. reMarkable Paper Pro and Paper Pro Move. Oh, which one? Oh, that's a good question. So basically a reMarkable ecosystem, a Manta Nomad, a Supernote ecosystem, a Boox Black and White, or a Boox Color. Oh, wow. No, I think the best is one Boox Black and White and one Boox Color personally. That would be my sort of ideal world. If I needed a combo, and you haven't allowed me to pick the Nomad and the Tab X C, because that's probably what I would personally go with. Yeah, everyone put in an answer to Dr. Ling's question, because this is a good question. So basically, do I want to live in the reMarkable ecosystem, Supernote ecosystem, or Boox Black and White or Boox Color? Luckily, we don't have to decide, but maybe you do. Maybe it's more important than you think. Put those back up. Come on, yeah, make the choice. Make the choice. And one thing I would say is, out of all of them, just having the Manta is enough e-ink tablet. No, it's not though, is it? Because I'd like the Tab X C for typing on and things like that. Oh, can I come back to that one? I'll have a little think and I'll come back to that. I would mix the Supernote Manta with the reMarkable Paper Pro. Terminal X is coming. The Terminator X is coming. Yeah, I do have the version chilling up there. It's at the minute it's saying it's doing that annoying thing. Here's a thought. Thanks. So we've got it on random advice. So there we go. That'll be there for 5 minutes. It's really. Yeah, I've got a couple of things that are interesting to talk about that whole idea in the near future. So I look forward to that. Right, I will see you after. reMarkable Paper has a great battery for reading. Read around 50,000 pages on it. Always surprised at how long it lasts. Yeah. So if you're just reading, yeah, that's the thing. Long battery life. Any ink device, pretty much. If you're just reading on it, then you'll be absolutely fine. A couple more entries into this. Going to go for the Tab X C and Go Color C. So you're going the biggest and the smallest of the Kaleido world. I'm going to choose the reMarkable ecosystem. So I'd choose that one. Somehow the irritation to use Boox because Android OS is like overkill. Yeah, I don't disagree. And I think you've got to be honest with yourself. If you want to go Boox, you've got to know that you want to use like the Word app and things like that on your device. Or you need to choose your reading library and you need to mix and match. Or there's something that sings to you about that Android ecosystem. Pick based on what you think is going to be a thing. Note taker highlight capability for PDF. I personally think, even in that case, even though you don't need the extra apps, what you might be interested in would be the side-by-side mode. But if you want to note take, then probably stick to the reMarkable, because you probably need the color. You're thinking color, reMarkable paper. I think probably you might be, because the Tab X C doesn't have great for handwriting. So ask yourself if you want the side-by-side, and then ask yourself if you want the better screen feel for note taking, or if you're not too bothered about that. And if you want the side-by-side, go for the Boox. And if you don't need that, then reMarkable will do you just fine. Yeah, I don't have one, but that would be a great comparison for sure. Excited about the move, solely for having a reporter-side notebook, syncs with the reMarkable Paper Pro. Yeah, so yeah, that is the thing, isn't it? Absolutely. Yeah, and I would appreciate that too. Hopefully that's something that they're going to bring. Note Max only because of the size. Rather have a Linux-based system. Yeah, the Note Max, what a great device that is. Okay, yeah, absolutely. So being able to choose your own thing on a Boox Nova. Pretty hard to go back to EPUBs on a reMarkable. I hate that you can't change the look of the page or the fonts. Yeah, absolutely. You and I both. Well, thanks so much for the evening spending with me, and I will see you all next time. And we'll look forward to bringing you lots of content from my excursion this weekend and into next week. Right. Cheers, guys. Have a good evening.